Can we truly eradicate racism without dismantling the very concept of race? This is a question that stirs the pot of societal norms and challenges us to reevaluate our understanding of racism. Racism is a deeply ingrained part of our society, a malignant entity that permeates our institutions and pervades our individual mindsets. It creates harmful divisions and inequalities founded on the mistaken belief in racial superiority and inferiority. We've made strides, yes. The tireless efforts of civil rights activists and social justice warriors have pushed the needle towards equality. Yet despite these advances, racism remains stubbornly rooted in our world. Systemic discrimination persists, personal biases are held on too tightly, and the shadow of racial prejudice looms over human interaction. The roots of racism stubbornly persist, fueling injustices and perpetuating cycles of oppression. This is our starting point, the provocative beginning of a journey that dares to question the very concept of race itself. Upon closer examination, race reveals itself as a social construct, a product of historical circumstances and power dynamics rather than inherent biological differences. In understanding the construct of race, we must first comprehend its origins. Race, as we know it today, is an invention. It was birthed from the intricate dance of historical happenings, power struggles, and the human instinct to categorize. It's not a product of biology or genetics, but rather a social construct, a man-made system of classification that has been woven into the very fabric of our societies, our institutions, and our minds. To put it plainly, there is no scientific basis for race. The genetic variations among individuals of the same race are often greater than the variations between different races. Yet this baseless categorization has been used to create hierarchies, to separate, to discriminate, to oppress. It's been a tool to justify unequal treatment, to rationalize biases, and to maintain power structures. Racial categorization is not benign. It's not merely about differentiating between varying shades of skin color or distinct physical attributes. It's about assigning value, worth, and status. It's about deciding who gets access to resources, opportunities, and rights. It's about defining who matters and who doesn't in a society. Now imagine a world where these racial categories cease to exist. A world where we no longer define individuals by their race. What would that look like? It would mean dismantling the very foundations that have allowed racism to persist. It would mean challenging the ingrained societal norms and questioning the deeply held beliefs that have perpetuated inequalities and divisions. By deconstructing race, we can begin to undermine the foundations of racism. We can start to chip away at the systems of privilege and disadvantage that racial categories have upheld. We can pave the way for a more equitable and inclusive society. But this is not a simple task. It requires courage, commitment, and a radical shift in perspective. It demands that we confront uncomfortable truths and engage in difficult conversations. But the promise of a future free from the shackles of racism makes this journey worth undertaking. By deconstructing race, we can undermine the foundations of racism, paving the way for a more equitable and inclusive society. Eliminating race does not mean erasing cultural diversity or ignoring the legacies of racial oppression. Rather, it provides an opportunity to view individuals beyond the limiting scope of racial categories. When we remove the shackles of race, we liberate ourselves to appreciate the rich tapestry of human experiences and cultural identities. This concept enables us to truly celebrate the diversity of our world. From the rhythmic beats of African drums to the intricate patterns of Persian carpets, the vibrancy of our cultural heritage is not tethered to race. It is the product of human creativity and resilience in the face of adversity. Moreover, a raceless society does not negate the realities of racial oppression. Instead, it compels us to confront these injustices head-on and to heal together as a collective. It's about fostering solidarity across communities, not about creating a colorblind society. We can stand united against racism without being divided by race. Celebrating cultural heritage and fostering solidarity across communities become practical steps toward eliminating race involve reimagining institutions and policies through an anti-racist lens. Let's delve into this a bit further. First, consider our education system. It should be reformed to promote critical thinking and multiculturalism. By fostering an environment where young minds are exposed to various cultures and histories, we can cultivate empathy and understanding. We can replace myths and stereotypes about racial groups with knowledge and appreciation of the diverse tapestry of human experience. Next, there's the issue of criminal justice. This system should be restructured to address systemic biases. It's no secret that certain racial groups are disproportionately affected by the justice system. By implementing fair practices that don't disproportionately target certain racial groups, we can start to dismantle the harmful structures that uphold racism. Then, let's discuss representation. We need to promote diverse voices in media and leadership positions. This isn't just about ticking a diversity box, it's about ensuring that every voice is heard, every story is told, and every perspective is considered. This helps to challenge stereotypes and amplify marginalized voices, creating a more balanced narrative that reflects the reality of our diverse world. But let's not sugarcoat it. These steps, while necessary, aren't easy. They come with their own set of challenges. Deep-seated prejudices won't disappear overnight. The structures of institutionalized racism are entrenched and won't be dismantled without a fight. And discussions about race can often lead to discomfort and resistance. This is where the real work begins. Overcoming these hurdles requires sustained efforts, patience, and most importantly, collective action. It's a shared responsibility, one that calls for each of us to play our part in challenging the status quo and driving change. The journey toward a raceless society is not without its challenges, requiring sustained efforts and collective action to overcome. But if we stay committed and persistent, we can chip away at the foundations of racism, making way for a future where race no longer dictates the opportunities. And nevertheless, the imperative to eliminate race remains as urgent as ever. As we continue to grapple with the enduring legacy of racism, we must confront the role of racial categories in perpetuating inequality and injustice. These categories, far from being benign descriptors, serve as divisive constructs that fuel discrimination and bias. They shape our perceptions, coloring the way we view and interact with the world around us. The specter of racism, tethered to the concept of race, continues to cast a long shadow over society, fostering division and undermining equality. Yet we have the power to challenge these constructs, to question their validity and expose their harmful implications. By eliminating race, we dismantle the very pillars supporting racism, paving the way for true social justice. By embracing the radical vision of a raceless society, we can chart a path toward true equality and justice for all. This is not a simple journey, nor a short one, but it is a journey we must embark on if we are to realize a future free from the shackles